Welcome back to match 3. Hydra Alliance versus Synchronicity. What do we have for Hydra Alliance, Ninja?
Hydra Alliance, on the left side of your screen, we have 5 Ishtars and 5 Griffins, playing back a theme that we saw a lot last year of drones.
Absolutely. This is a very, very common setup. And they are facing what we would call an uncommon setup.
Yes, very much so, especially with the ranges at which they've warped in.
We have a Raven, 2 Myrmidons, Hurricane, and 2 Blackbirds. And what we're seeing here is all big ships, all the larger ships, have warped in at 0.
Right.
Very strange. And all of the small ships, of course, have warped in at probably 50 or 60. We can't really tell.
And with only 2 Blackbirds for their support, we can only hope they have smart bombs fitted.
Okay, we are seeing instant launch of many, many, many drones. What we're going to see here is a very quick destruction of some ships. Okay, 1 Ishtar immediately taking very heavy fire. We have a smart bomb, and that's what we're expecting to see. We have smart bombs going off on, it looks like the Raven. It makes sense to be the Raven, I assume. And that is going to nullify quite a bit the damage output from the Ishtars. We're seeing a lot of damage spread across those frigates. I'm assuming that, I think the Myrmidons are running 250 rails, and they're running them obviously to take down support that comes in at distance.
Right, and we see one of those Griffins has already gone down with 2 following in close suit.
So they're going to lose their support very quickly here.
3 down instantly.
Both Blackbirds from the Synchronicity side went almost immediately. Primary targets. Just have my pen taken off me because I keep clicking it. 2 Blackbirds down. Primary targets, of course. Get the logistics out there. They're gone. We've seen that Hurricane melting. We've seen the Myrmidon about to melt. This looks to be a very clear win for the very common setup from the Ishtars.
Right.
It's a very unusual setup. 1 Raven, 2 Myrmidons. What are they thinking, you think?
Well, with the smart bombs, it's a good call, and it makes sense, and it explains why they warped into the range they did. And it looks like Myrmidon's entering armor very, very rapidly. It doesn't look like much of a tank.
No. Well, they aren't wearing the smart bomb, and the Raven isn't close enough to make an effect. And, of course, we are seeing actually there, we saw a lot of drones exploding there, so the Raven has gone into smart bomb range.
Seems we have some remote logistics as well from those Ishtars, keeping them very well alive.
Ishtars are running at least 1 medium rep each in the top slots. And what we're seeing, of course, being an Ishtar, it can field more than one flurry of drones. So it loses drones and it just pump out a whole other load. And that's why the Raven's smart bomb is kind of nullified against them. It's going to be interesting when it comes to killing the Raven. Do you think? Because it's going to be smart bombing. I think the Ishtars are running rails as well, though, or some sort of they might even be small blasters. Yeah, we're going to see this is a very clear win. Not a total hell death. They lost all their frigates, but 5 Ishtars, nothing's going to die there. The Raven will not even have...
Still a very decisive win and proof that old tactics can still bring results.
Absolutely, and they've probably modified it slightly because you can no longer use pirate implants, so they've probably had to modify quite a bit the actual setup. But using the basis of 5 support craft, heavy damage from Ishtars, and the logistics setups of a remote repper in each high slot, or maybe even 2, and a cap booster in the mid slots for the Ishtars, is a very solid, safe tactic.
And Synchronicity's final ship has dropped, meaning a win for Hydra.
And that was a kick-in. We will cut back to the studio with Spiral Junkie ready to give you his dulcet tones.
I think incredibly decisive there. Atropo will come to you. I think we saw that was going to become one of the most, seen setups on the left there. 5 hacks, generally 5 Ishtars, remote, repping each other.
Calm Down was saying that this is his setup. This is the one he sees being used all the time. And it's what we tried to do last time in the last tournament with the EVE TV versus CCP fight. And, it takes a lot of work to get that actually working. But
well, the Ishtar on its own is already a very sort of micromanagement ship.
Yeah, but when it works phenomenally well.
So interestingly there, they come up with a setup which it's not tried and tested specifically, but we know it's going to do well.
5 hacks, various kinds, and 5 Griffins is going to be a big setup for this tournament. That and the 3 battleships with a lot of frigates as well, I think.
On the right-hand side, Stavros, we'll come to you because we're going to talk bad things about people, so you can be the person to do that. It seemed that they kind of just said, right, guys, we've got a tournament, grab what ship you like the look of best.
And go.
And go.
I don't know, I mean, they chose ships like I choose alliances by how cool their names are and stuff. It was, again, they just, no real, I think they got rid of the Griffins in the end, but they're just disposable ships. Nobody's going to cry about the loss of a Griffin much afterwards, and that was it, really. Poor showing.
Well,
No
it
synchronicity.
stopped them getting total hill death. So
Yeah, I
Well,
was going to
that's
say
true.
something about that actually. I mean, that's the only downside of fielding so many frigates. It's going to be harder for those kind of teams to get a total hell death. But then again,
Well,
if you win every match in your group,
The battle,
then
the 3 Megathron team managed to get
Well,
through it without losing any Griffins.
yeah, it's true.
But there's two ways of winning, isn't there? There's absolutely crushing the opponent and losing a few things yourself,
Or just
or
pick
being
one off
nice
and
and tight and just killing. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I think we'd much rather see we'll take a few hits so that we can absolutely
Yeah,
smash your noses
better
in.
fight.
I mean, it's been designed like that this time, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Smaller, it's like closer to start with. Is the arena smaller this time as well?
Yeah, it's
isn't it?
50 kilometres what range.
So